It's Chords and Coffee, and with me is my buddy Mike.
Hello, friends.
And this is by request. Mike, we've had a number of folks say, hey, Nate, why don't you do a Chords and Coffee on open tunings? And so here we are.
You're here to serve.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're a couple of dudes of the people.
Yeah.
Dudes of the people.
Exactly.
So with that, what we thought would be kind of cool, we'll start with open D tuning. So if you've landed on this video, this is not just for slide. There are a ton of chord voicings that are super cool, especially if you're playing with a buddy that's playing in standard tuning.
Yep. I'll be standard here. Nate's going to be doing all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The hard stuff.
Mike's doing the unfun stuff.
I'm phoning it in over here.
Yeah,
okay.
But you're going to see how to use an open D tuning with another guitar player, but also we thought it'd be cool, and you're going to want to stay tuned for this, is that we're going to do a song that has a lot of chords in it that is not in the key of D. Challenge. And the reason we say that is because a lot of times when it comes to open tunings, especially when it's just tuned to like a open major chord, kind of gets a bad rap.
Well, it proves a little challenge that maybe you don't actually need all the time.
Well, what I mean by bad rap is a lot of people just go, oh, that's just so you can just throw your finger over the, which you can. And actually, there was a time, I did a little quick deep dive on some research on this. There was a time where there was actually like a method book for playing parlor guitar that had some songs that were just tuned to an open D and an open G tuning. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where open D gets the Vestipole. Yeah. I used to think that was actually the name of a town somewhere, but that's not right. That was actually, I think that was actually the name of a song in this book that was just an open D. And then there was another song that was called Spanish something, and later that got shorted, to just Spanish tuning for open G tuning, which is funny because that was just like out of a method book that was done like in the early 1900s. You didn't ask for that, but I gave it to you anyway.
History, man. Always learning.
And so speaking of history, let's make some.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, this is drop D. We're going to start with drop D. Drop D is awesome. Drop D is not just for the... But it's very cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it can be. But it's kind of like the first thing you learn when you start, to me at least it was, when you start venturing into tuning your guitar differently. Oh
yeah, I mean, I'm a child of the '90s, perhaps. So in like the grunge era, there was so many great drop D tuning songs. But it's not just for that, even though that's a very cool thing. So first things first, I want to show you some drop D chord voicings, and then me and Mike will play something together. So just to make sure I stay on track. So all I've done here is I've taken my low E string and just tuned it down to a D. So do that really quick. Maybe pause this, come back to it later. And just tune your low E down to D. That's it. So just a whole step down. And then when you do that, obviously your D chord sounds like this, right? And Mike here is playing
capoed on 5.
Yeah.
So my D chord is actually the A shape.
Yeah. And we'll get to that here in just a second, how great these things sound together. But for a G shape, what you're going to do is instead of doing this guy right here, what you're going to do is actually either you can do it with 2 fingers, where you have your index finger on the 3rd fret of the high E, and then your ring finger is on the 5th fret of the low E. Or what I like to do, and I think you like to do this too, I put my pinky on the 5th fret of the A and then lay my index finger on the 3rd fret of the B and the high E, and you get this great. It's like
a hybrid of the open chord and the bar chord at the same time.
It's just G's and D's.
Yeah,
G's and D's. Yeah. So very kind of open sounding. And then if you wanted to play like an F or G this way, basically you would bar straight across from the 3rd fret all the way across, and then build a D shape. So index finger on the 3rd fret all the way across, and then ring finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the G, pinky's going to be on the 6th fret of the B, and then you're going to have that high E open, sort of like an F sus2. And then a G would just be the same thing slid up. So you're getting some of the advantage of the open tuning, but what's really cool about drop D is that when you marry that with another guitar player, right? And so there's a lot of great country music in drop D tuning too. Yeah. In fact, a lot of country guys will have a hip shot on their Telecaster. If you want Danny to put one on there, just let us know. He'll do it for you. Yeah.
Accommodate.
Yeah, so you just flip a little lever, boom, you're in drop D just like that. Van Halen had the D tuna back there, right?
Yeah.
But like take a song like, I don't know, like Fishing in the Dark. So, Mike, if you were playing it up there, what would that sound like? Yeah, like that kind of thing. So you're just doing like a basic A blues kind of deal. Let's see if I can do this without dropping this guitar. We're getting coffee everywhere.
Which one I'm more concerned about, the guitar or the coffee? Probably the guitar.
Well, this is that part where we got coffee on the carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Boop. If you ever visit us, you can come look for that stain.
I feel like I should be putting my cup under there or something. This is why we buy brown rugs to play the music. Yeah. It's a good thing
A little bit of a blooper reel.
Wait a second. Okay.
There you go. All right. So
It's all right.
all right. So we're playing like a little fish in the dark here. And there's like a little lick at the very beginning where he goes. And that's just open D. So it's really the open E string. And I'm hitting the second fret and kind of bend it. I don't know if I'm playing it just right, but it's close enough for this example.
Yeah.
And so I'm just playing an open A, second fret, so that's a B, so making that D6, while Mike is doing it an octave higher. Go to the G. Here comes the 5. This is how these things kind of combine. Kind of loosey-goosey fishing in the dark, but isn't that neat the way those things combine? And all we're doing is you were playing an A with the capo on the 5 while I'm playing a D, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're playing the G, where I'm playing a G, you're playing a D
I'm playing a D chord.
Listen how that sounds together. It's just nice, right? And then when I play my A, you're playing your E, right? Easy peasy.
That sounds great.
Now, when you go to your B minor, which is really an E minor.
The E minor.
And then to your E is my A. What's nice about those different voicings and how they kind of collide together, it's richer, it's thicker, and there's also, it sounds like a lot more is going on with less effort.
Well, it's a lot more than just lining up the strings to play with one finger, like you said. It's about getting neat voicings off of strings that normally don't get to make that kind of sound. And adds a little fire, a little inspiration, perhaps.
Speaking of neat voicings that don't normally get to make that kind of sound, what would happen if we tune this to an open D chord and we had to make some regular chords with that?
Magic.
Let's do it. So, we've got our low E tuned down to a D. We've got our A that stays an A. We've got a D that stays a D. We've got a G that is now an F sharp. We got a B that is now an A. And we got a high E that is now a D. Okay, so let's take a look at, here is every chord in the key of D in open D tuning. So D is pretty easy. And Mike's gonna play along in standard tuning so that you have a visual reference as well as just an auditory reference. Okay, so then the next chord is an E minor, which you know. But here's how we're gonna make our minors in this situation. You're gonna have, so again, open D tuning, you're gonna have your middle finger on the second fret of the low E. You're gonna have your ring finger on the second fret of the D. Index finger is gonna be on the first fret of the G. And I'm labeling these strings as they are in real life, not in this open D tuning, which is, simulation from the Matrix. And then pinky's gonna be on the second fret of the B. So against your E minor. Yeah. Now, for F sharp minor, the same way that Mike throws a bar on the second fret and builds an E minor, I'm just gonna slide this whole shaboing.
Shaboing.
Hey, easy peasy. Now here's where the open chord really gets nice. For the G,
Yeah.
Mike's gotta do this G chord here.
One whole finger.
Look at that. Yeah. Now, if I want to get fancy, I can make it a G major 7 by putting my pinky up here on the 9th fret. But let's just keep it bacon and beans for a second.
Bacon and beans.
All right. Now for an A chord, I'm just moving this whole sheboing up here to the 7th fret.
It is.
Mike's playing a good old-fashioned A.
Old-fashioned open A.
On so many Chords and Coffees.
Absolutely.
Now, remember this that we did for this E minor? We're going to do the same thing for the B minor. And so this is going to be a middle finger on the 9th fret of the low E, skipping the A, ring finger on the 9th fret of the D, and then what is normally the G string, but is now the F sharp, index finger is going to be on the 8th fret, and then pinky is going to be on the what is normally the B string, but now an A, the 9th fret.
This is one thing that you don't always get to do. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we don't get to play all 6 strings all the time when doing some of these different voicings on the open tuning, correct?
Yeah, a lot of times you got to kind of settle for just a partial.
The important ones that make the chord ring out that you want.
Yeah. So we're learning how to do a full chord voicing. Now, for this diminished chord here, which is going to be this guy, this is going to be a C sharp diminished. You're going to have your pinky is going to be on the 11th fret of the low E. It's actually D now. And then the A string is going to be on the 10th fret with your middle finger. Index is going to be on the 9th fret of the D. And then what is normally the G string now, F sharp, is going to be on the 10th fret. And then back to the D. Right?
Beautiful.
So that's all the chords. And the key of D.
Open D. Yeah.
In an open D.
In an open D.
Yeah, and what's cool about open D or any open tuning is that the whole point, the reason you do this is you want this jangle kind of factor, right? And you get these cool octaves, like on these A strings and these D strings. And so, like if you're doing like that. Reminds me, there's that part in Oh Brother Where Art Thou where they're like, what are you going to do with your half of the fortune, Everett? I'm going to walk in there and lay it on the barrel head and buy the family farm. That whole deal. Yeah. It has that kind of vibe. And that's just I'm playing these octaves on the, what is normally the A string, well, it is the A string, and then the B string are now the same note. And then the D string and the high E string are now the same note. And so that's kind of cool. It reminds me of Maggie May too.
Kind of has that, yeah.
But the real challenge is, can we play a song that is not in D with an open D tuning?
I think the answer is yes.
So let's try it real quick. I submit to you, we're going to play Something by the Beatles, which is kind of in the key of C. I say kind of, there's a lot of accidentals. Yeah. But let's just try this just from right on the C chord.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it. 1, 2. So before we go on, let's discuss that. I thought that sounded really cool.
That was gorgeous, yeah.
With it, so instead, when you're playing your normal C, I'm playing this voicing here. So again, open D tuning. Index finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the A. Middle finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the D. Ring finger is going to be on the 6th fret of the G. It's really F sharp, but let's keep going. And then on the B string, it's really A. It's going to be on the 7th fret. So pretty stretchy. And then you get this open D note at the top. So listen to these. Doesn't that sound just like a cloud?
That's gorgeous.
It sounds like we just, I don't know what we're doing, but I think I like it.
I think George re-recorded it.
Exactly. And so then now I'm going to move my middle finger. Let's just say where it's at. My ring finger is actually going to come back to the 5th fret of that G string. You play your C major 7. Listen to that. So what you end up getting is like a C major 9, right? And then this moment here, play that C7. Now that one, there's some collision there because you have this. And what this is all I'm doing is I've got my index finger still on the 3rd fret of the A, ring finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the D, and then middle finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the G. It's actually F sharp, but then everything else is open. And it's like this, it's like a C major 13 kind of thing. Or no, it's a C13 with this like a sus2. So you've got that B flat and that A ringing together, colliding, which is really pretty. And then it's just good old F, one finger straight across the 3rd fret, and we walk it down in octaves. And then D, and then I went with those little octaves there on the 3rd fret, or the 5th fret of the A and the 5th fret of the B, and then straight down 5, 4, 3, and then to a G, 5th fret straight across. So when you do that, you're going G.
It's kind of like A minor 7th, and then
G
7th
over B. Yeah. And so what I'm doing is I'm going. And so what I've got is this G, and then this A minor shape. It's going to be index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. G is actually F sharp. Is going to be on the 3rd fret, and then with the middle finger, and then 3rd fret on the B, actually A. It's probably more confusing when I say it that way, isn't it?
I'm just confused in general. So.
Potato, potato.
Potato.
Okay, so and then 3rd fret of the B, right? So, and then index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then pinky is barring the rest of the 5th fret from the D string all the way down. Now we go to this little walk down moment. Okay, so this is that A minor again, but this time all I'm doing is then, so index finger 2nd fret of the D, middle finger 3rd fret of the G, ring finger 3rd fret of the B, and then I'm just moving my middle finger down a half step to that 2nd fret of the G, and then moving now where my middle finger takes place where my index finger was, and then index comes back here to the 1st fret of the G.
Just about walking down the root.
Exactly.
Notes.
Yeah, same way you are. And this one, think of this as an A minor 7 slid up here, where I'm basically making this another variation of the D chord. Index
7th chords.
Well, I'm not playing.
Well, you're not.
You're doing the 7th here,
them.
which I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
Because part of this that makes this really cool is I don't have to play all the notes that you're playing, and you don't have to play all the notes that I'm playing.
That's half what makes it beautiful, is that we're dancing around each other. But
Matter of
not
fact, we're
doing
sort
the
of
same.
celebrating our differences.
Exactly right. Diversity.
Thanks, music.
You're welcome.
All right, so so index finger on the 3rd fret of the B, open G, it's really F sharp, continuing, and then middle finger on the D string of the 4th fret, and then lay it straight across for the 3rd fret, bound down, 1st fret, 5th fret, and then C. That's a lot.
What a song.
It's a beautiful song.
Beautiful.
In fact, Chords and Coffee Challenge. If in the comments section you guys blow this up and go, oh yeah, we'll do something in this tuning, right? Open G, open E. Don't say C sharp. Come on. That's just mean.
Come on.
But I bet we could probably do it if we had
You
to.
could do that, yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
But open tuning, we'll play something again. I think it'd be kind of cool to see what kind of voicings we could come up with. So what are your thoughts on like having two different completely tuned guitars playing together at the same time?
I think it's magical. I mean, you know, guys did that a lot. The Rolling Stones were known for that quite a bit, just to have the juxtaposition of the lead stuff coming from like Ronnie, Keith, and the open stuff. It's really cool, like I said, just to the way guys can play, especially if they're verse players, and they can do a lot of different stuff without getting in each other's way. They're almost always going to be out of each other's way, and it's a really fun way. And I think it's an inspirational way to kind of craft and create something new.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of synapses in the brain too, I think, connecting by, it helps you identify your fretboard and all those things, and it just makes you more familiar, I think, with your entire instrument as a whole too. It did that for me, at least, by honing in on the open stuff.
I love it.
Really cool.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Something else we like to say around here is, friends, we are living life the best we can with a guitar in our hand. We do this every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time here on YouTube. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, if you haven't subscribed, well, Lord have mercy, hit the subscribe button, ask your questions in the comments section, share these videos if you find them helpful, And my friends, we will see you again next week for another Chords and Coffee.